All right, guys, what is going on? What up, man? Welcome to the stream. Where we at? Welcome. Almost 30 people ready to go. Very nice. Mid rolls. No, thanks. We don't want those mid rolls. I try to stream, or I want to stream with no ads. YouTube's trying to get me to run ads. No. No. Everybody hates ads, you know what I mean? We hate ads. Drop a like if you hate ads, man. If you don't like ads, drop a like. What's good? Willow, Ibraneth, Jose, MJ, Marshall, Shay Millie, Juan G, Dave G, Zay, Stephanie. Man, where's everybody else at? Where is everybody else at, dude? We had like almost 100 people the other day. We only got like 20 now. Maybe I really am the worst mentor, dude. Maybe I'm just so terrible. You know? Maybe telling you Thursday what Friday would do is just so bad, right? Fucking terrible. I'm just awful, chat. I'm just so bad. So bad. I don't even watch oil. You guys look at oil. I don't. I do not. You guys do. Clock's gone back over this side. They're all going to be an hour late. Well, that's why YouTube also sends notifications, don't they? Don't you guys get notified when I go live? We're all adults, man. You got to be responsible. If you know the time is changing, then get with it. You got to check your spread, right? You got to incorporate that spread. You got to incorporate that hour change, big fellas. Big fellas. Anyway, changed my light bulb. I even got an extra ring light now, so we should no longer be orange, and things should be a little bit brighter. You know, kind of like your future, right? Ah. Okay. I know I'm hilarious, right? Actually, let's keep it here for a minute. So I was expecting a response. You guys didn't give me one, so I don't know where you went. But someone asked about, you know, what they got wrong on ES, and I responded and I said, well, you know, look at your gap and then mark up your premium and discount. And then y'all went ghost on me, and nobody posted anything. Okay, I guess I'll do it for you. So regular trading hours, Sunday gap is here. Okay. How does that look like? Well, for RTH, go to RTH. There's well, it's really the weekend gap, because this is the close of Friday to the open of equities on Monday. So it's not really Sunday gap. It's a weekend gap, but whatever. That is here in blue. Okay, so Friday's close at 3:10. Monday's open at 8:30. That's what that is. When we go to ETH, not Ethereum, ETH is electronic trading hours. That can be seen here. Okay, here to here. There's your Sunday open right there. 58, 57. Okay. So that is where those two different reference, well, there's more than one reference point, but that's where those two gaps come from. Okay. Electronic trading hours gap, and then the regular trading hours gap. We all on the same page with that? What's good, Big James? What's good, Anthony? Yeah, Stephanie. Yeah, you guys should get notified. If you don't, then you're a fraud. So those two gaps, okay? Electronic trading hours gap, that hasn't even been traded into. I think it should be traded into, given what the Dow has presented. We'll look at that in a minute, but I'm pretty sure ES is likely to trade down and into at least 58, 56. That's what I'm expecting. If I'm wrong, then I'll be wrong. So remember, and we did this on Friday, right? We looked at two different time frames for Dow Jones, the Dow shorts that I talked to you about. And hopefully you did the homework. You probably didn't. You probably didn't go back and watch the videos or my story like I told you to do, because you guys don't do anything. But just like you haven't finished meditations either, even though we have a couple days left in the month, but you guys don't read, so it's fine. We talked about how we can take multiple time frames, right? Every time frame is going to have its own premium and discount levels. Every range is going to have its own premium and discount. So I gave you on Friday with Dow two different ones. We had a higher time frame premium of the premium, which is like the 25% level. What's good, Toby? And then we had like a small time frame 50%. And so that small time frame 50% was right near that higher time frame 25%. So we were basically at a premium either way you look at it. With today, for example, I don't remember specifically what they did in here. I don't know if they were trying to long. I don't quite remember off the top of my head, but it was something in here I think they were trying to long. And again, I don't know if it was an imbalance or if it was like a mitigation maybe. I don't remember specifically what the criteria was for trying to long. But now you should understand that whoever that was, and if this is you too, then understand you're in the premium of a premium up here, right? Because this is like your, what was it again? Regular. It's fucking moved over. This is your regular trading hours, right? So that halfway point is here, which means you're in a premium up there, and then that's the electronic trading hours gap is way down here. So you're well above that Sunday gap. So you're in a premium. Okay, well, here are your levels, okay? So that's what that looks like. So to me, if we go to regular trading hours, this is why I said if I think we could go to the electronic trading hours gap, but if we don't, this is why I'd be wrong. Because based on regular trading hours, right? Today's current high of the day is the highest high, and the high to the right is slightly lower. So we do have some low resistance highs up here, which I think we could trade into, but I don't think we would get there first without trading down here. Now, again, I could be wrong on that, but I don't think I'm going to be. I'll have to wait for more information. If we go over to NQ, okay, very, very similar story, but different nonetheless. Here is your gap. Okay, regular trading hours gap. Okay. I need to make some presets because this is fucking ridiculous. Larger gap. Okay, we obviously traded into the discount end of that, and I didn't know what price was going to do during lunch. We had lows here and we have highs here for NQ. So now that we have traded below the lows, I think there's a chance that we could probably trade higher up to these highs, possibly make a new high of day if it's going to be in sync with ES. And, you know, that's a possibility. Okay. Now, it is a little hard for me to justify longs on ES, though, given that we just created equal lows. So today's looking like a not ideal day for me. All right, if we go to Dow, I do have an alert on Dow Jones. Okay. Regular trading hours, we actually, let's zoom out a little bit. We have this gap, right? Just like the other indices. However, we have not traded into that at all. And then our current low of the day is low resistant lows. And that's why I have an alert there, because I think we're going to easily trade below that. Now, if we don't, then that would be fine. But here's kind of my thoughts on it. Dow clearly is our strongest index today. What's good, Libright and Felix? Dow Jones is our current strongest index today. So looking for shorts might be a little bit shaky. On top of that, even though this is small time frame, we have some highs here too. So, you know, do you want to short the strongest index? Probably not. Even though I like that as a target. Electronic hours, things are a little bit different. Okay. Things are a little bit different. The Sunday gap is way down here. We haven't traded into that either. That could be a fairly bullish signature. So I had some small time frame markups in here. But again, we never ran down for those lows here. And we left highs here. And now we've retraced. So, you know, we're in between like the lows down here and the highs right here. So I don't know what this is going to do. I don't know, chat. I don't know. So would I put money on something like that? No. I don't think so. I do not think so. But those are my thoughts, okay, on the day so far. So there's really, we're just gonna have to wait for this to pan out. But I would tell you though, we can watch, I would rather watch NQ only because we took all of these lows here and we have equal highs up here. So I would probably expect some sort of expansion here. So we'll watch it. Again, I don't think I would trade this if it were me. But again, as a teacher, I always want to give you something to watch or to look for. You know, I want to teach with live price always. So this is probably the cleanest thing I can find as far as indices goes. I mean, currencies, I don't even know what they're up to today. I looked at gold and silver. There's not really a whole lot going on over there, in my opinion, either. So this is where we're at. Okay. Again, I wouldn't trade this. My thoughts are, if we're gonna go higher, I wonder if this is gonna be a mitigation. We have two imbalances here. If we are bullish, I would expect the lower one to not be traded into. I would expect this one to be a breakaway imbalance. If we get this one here, I would expect for us to not trade to the low end of it, if that makes sense. So like if we tap into this like right here, if it was me, I would want to see us respond immediately. I would not want to see us screw around. And I obviously told you I wouldn't want to see this lower one here either. Okay. So we shall see. And oh, that's what it is. That midline has got to go. Actually, you know what? We'll keep that there. We'll keep that midline there on the mitigation. So we'll let this pan out. It's 12:22. We're not really in a macro. But I guess we're going to find out. Yes, we're going to find out. What's good, Carl? What's good, George? What's good? YBK is in buys from 20,530. Okay. Very nice, very nice. Neither forgot that it was just time shift in EU and not USA. Yeah, man. We all do things differently, right? Especially the US. We do weird shit. I don't know what to tell you. Don't know what to tell you. I don't make the rules, family. I don't make the rules. What'd you guys do this weekend? Besides not read. What'd you guys do? Was good, Jordan D? Yeah, I've really been focused on being active. You know, going outside, walking the neighborhood, not drink or not drinking sodas, of course. At least regular ones. I'll have a diet one every once in a while, but the been very mindful of the sugar intake. So been working out, a lot of water, you know. So I can say it's been a couple of days since I did weigh myself last time, but when I weighed myself the other day, in the last right around 3 weeks or so, I forget which day it is because I haven't kept up with it. But I've lost right around 8 pounds in the last 3 weeks. So I feel pretty good about that. I don't know if I mentioned that last week, but I feel pretty good about it. So it's a lot easier to do. Like working out gets easier, which is why you have to increase the difficulty. You gotta, go up in weight. You gotta walk longer distances, right? That part sucks, but at least knowing that it's easier, right? Like the first time you don't work out for like a year or a couple years, you do like 15, 20 push-ups and it's like, this is death, right? You're like, this is death. And now it's like, oh, a set of 20, it's fucking cake, It's cake. So now it's like, all right, you gotta do more. You gotta do more. But I feel pretty good about that. Appreciate that, Matthew. Thank you, thank you. Toby fixed their car. Marshall visited family. YBK played some pickleball. Okay. You played mini tennis, huh? There's some people that play pickleball at the tennis court right outside the neighborhood. I don't know. Let me ask you this then. Why do you pick pickleball over tennis? What's the justification behind that? Zach Joe, you're fired. Cameron's on sets of 50. Nice. Very nice. I took a look in my trading journal, and many profitable trades I had were actually in combination with macros, money sign, dice. And the losses that I took would have looked different at the market because of macros. Well, what does that tell you then? The homies playing pickleball, huh? Nice. Tennis for old people. I'm done. Carne asada. Nice. Yeah, dude. Look, man. My friend from high school, okay? Her husband is white, but she's Mexican, right? So obviously her whole family is Mexican. And oh my god, they can cook their ass off, dude. Best shit. It's so incredible. Every time. They don't miss. Ice cream cake. That sounds pretty delicious. That sounds delicious. See if there's anything on this 5-minute time. Not really. Not really. And it looks like we did go to the low end of that upper imbalance here. 12:29. We're about to get a new 30-minute, 15-minute, 5-minute, 1-minute candle here in just about 30 seconds or so. So. Oh yeah, Alex. It's insane. Because like the thing is, bro, they don't just make like one thing. I mean, I don't even want to get into it, bro. I'll rant for like an hour. They'll make all kind of shit. Bunch of shit, dude. There's like 5, 6 different kind of sauces. There's like beef, chicken. They make like hot dogs for the kids and stuff. I might snag one of those, but you know, all kind of like other, I can't even name half the stuff because it's in Spanish. Desserts, all kind of stuff, dude. It's insane. Tres leches all the time. It's beautiful. All right, so let's see. We ended up hitting a lower imbalance. I told you that's not what I would have wanted. But we'll still watch it. We'll still see what this wants to do here. Right at the open, at 30-minute candle too. Yeah, so that is interesting. Let me just take a brief look at ES. We'll take a brief look at Dow, and then we'll come back to Nasdaq in just a minute. Yeah, those are perfect equal lows. That might be something to note on your chart. 58.60. Yeah, those are identical. So 58.60, I would definitely put on your chart for ES. And then, yeah, Dow looking like it's getting ready to yoink those highs in just a second. So, yeah, interesting day so far. Appreciate that, NKM. YB, I don't even know what Enigma is. I don't even know what that is. What would you do if that lower imbalance gets traded into? Probably shit my pants, bro. No, I'm just kidding. Well, we're going to let this pan out, and then I'm going to give you exactly what my thoughts were on this. We got to let it pan out first, and then I'll give you the answer. I'm not in a trade. I was just being funny. It just goes back to that same rule. If you have two imbalances, you trade the first one with a stop at the second one. And that's why I said, if we're bullish, ideally, I wouldn't want to see us trade to the low end of the higher one. And I said I didn't want to see us trade down here because I think that one's going to be a breakaway. And I'll still label it. I mean, we did end up hitting that. But we got to let this pan out first. So just be patient. So this is the thought process, okay? We would need to be bullish. The reason I don't like something like this, again, because some of you came on here late, and that's fine. But I told you a little bit earlier, as we were trading down into this, ES has equal lows. Now that can be left open. Could you, do some scalping shit here for these highs that I told you I think we could probably trade to? Sure. But you got to be very careful when you're long with equal lows. Okay. I just typically don't like to do it. I just don't like to do it. Okay. This imbalance here was respected, so I would expect expansion. Okay. Higher is what that means. I would expect big up candles, light retracements, and a run above 57 or 572. 20,572. But we got to wait. All right, we got to wait. If I were to trade something like this, which again, I'm not in a trade. Okay, so full disclosure. If I was, there's a couple different options here. Okay, there's a couple different options. Number one, if you were looking at it, we do have an inversion down here. You probably never heard of this before, because I've never heard it before, but that to me is a breakaway inversion. Okay, when have you ever heard that before? Never, John. Nobody's ever said that. Okay. Inversion on the way, right? It's an imbalance on the way to liquidity run. So we would expect that to be bearish initially. Okay. But what was once bearish now can become bullish. Now, because we never tagged into that, to me, that would be a breakaway inversion. But you'll notice, I told you earlier, this should be a break, or I think this should be a breakaway imbalance, which means we shouldn't have even tagged that. We did tag it, however, so I was wrong in that assumption. But the idea is, if we're bullish, if this is going to seek higher pricing, we shouldn't trade, I think I said to the low end of this one. Okay, but it would be the same thing for here. We shouldn't trade to the low end of this. So there's a bunch of different options as far as where your stop could go. If you're entering on this imbalance in here, like that first one, there's a lot of different choices that you have. Number one, you could go to the low end of the inversion. Okay, that could be a stop. You could go all the way down to the low. That's a little bit of a wide stop. That's like a 1-to-1 RR. Could you do it? You could. Is it ideal? Probably not. Okay, so it could go to the low. It could go to the low end of the inversion. Or it could go to the low end of the lowest imbalance. Okay, actually, I'll just leave it purple. All right, low end of the inversion, the lowest of the low, or the low end of the potential breakaway imbalance. Now, I don't usually do this that often. Usually that often. It could also go to the low end of the mitigation. Okay. You guys catch all that? I wasn't really going to go over stop loss placement today, but you know, you've got some options down here. So why could our stops go down there? Well, I don't look at this like a buy model. Okay. I don't look at this like a market maker buy model. We have liquidity up here. We have liquidity here, and that downside was taken, right? So if our target, let's just do that. Okay. Your 50% is right here. And we'll do black dashed, because that's always been 50%. Okay. So these concepts down in here are technically in a discount. So if we expect bullishness from anything in here, then the low end should not be traded into. And that's why I said that. Okay. So as of right now, we'll just stretch these over because we do have live price just kind of hanging around in here. That's why I said those things. Okay. So we still got to give this some time to pan out, but I definitely don't like how we came back in here. Okay. I definitely don't care for that. ES hasn't done a whole lot since then, and Dow took those highs. See that? So contrast that with what I said earlier. I said Dow is our strongest index today, right? So which one of these, you know, traded higher? We were watching Nasdaq, right? But Dow is the one who ran the highs. So that is where the strength was in. Okay. And ES is like dicking around. And so is NQ. Okay. But again, that's the thought process. If I was long, we would need expansion here, or I wouldn't hold on to this. Meaning, having said that, of everything I've already said, if I had entered at the high end, right, and you know the stop was at the low end of the inversion, let's say, and it kind of goes towards my stop, comes back up, kind of goes back towards my stop, and then now we're higher. Now it's back above my entry. It's like, okay, bro, we've already like done this multiple times. Dow just took highs, and this is not making higher highs the same way Dow is. So to me, there's still some lingering weakness there. So me and my impatience would go, you might be in the wrong index here. We just created like small time frame low resistant lows too. So it's like, okay, we need to see expansion now, or I would just take my stop and go like break even and just say, man, fuck it. If it gets me out, it gets me out. I might be in the wrong index either way. So that's just me. That's what I would do if I was in a trade from here, or yeah, something like that. I'd say, okay, we need expansion now, or I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, I don't want to stay, you know, in a market like that. So something like this now would be a free trade. It would be risk it, break even, and we're still going to see if the market's going to trade up here or not. If I'm right, then hypothetically that trade would make money. If I'm wrong, then I would get out at break even and there'd be no harm done. That's what I mean by free trade. And that was not something that, you know, I made up or anything. I forget his name. I think John Hogan uses that term on on the Top Step TV guys, they use that like it's a cheap trade. It's either low risk, or if the stop's in profit, then it's like it's a cheap trade. There's no risk there. So that's kind of the vibe I'm getting with this, you know? So that's my thought process. Okay. We've meandered around for a little bit too long. Trying to figure out what the last question was that I answered. Yeah, G, I think I answered that though. I wouldn't be worried about the lower imbalance being traded into. I wouldn't want that, but I would allow for the market to do that, because if my stop would be a little bit lower or at the low end of the inversion here, if it comes down in here, then this might be the inversion model. Okay, because the bodies could still respect the mitigation, but it might trade outside of that, but still respect the concept. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you have multiple concepts that you could enter on. And you're basically saying, look, I'll enter at the highest one, aka the earliest one, but I'll place my stop as if I'm trading one of the lower ones, because we allow for the market to trade against me, right? Because I don't know necessarily if it's going to hit the imbalance and run, or if it's going to hit the inversion and then run, or if it's just going to trade lower altogether and I'm wrong entirely. Does that make sense? So that's the reasoning for that. Okay. So on this hypothetical trade, I would be getting out break even right here. And I'd say, okay, no harm, no foul. You know, something is like, I missed something. Like, what is it? Right. And again, I already pointed this out to you. Equal lows on ES. Okay. Like that. I don't like that at all. Dow's the strongest index. And NQ, it's like struggling to trade higher. Does that make sense? So I'm just gonna have to wait. I'm not always right. See, and now you get to see that. Now you get to see that, right? Because I'm teaching with live price. I gave you my thoughts. We let it pan out. And we're just chilling. You guys good with that? What's good, Leon? Which lessons, Willow? On stop loss placement or market maker models or premium discounts or relative strength? Like, what are we, which lessons have helped you? Or is it some of the old lessons, some of the classics? Matter of fact, we could take this off too, just so we can get an idea of those highs, because having too many drawings is not advantageous. It's not advantageous. I don't really look at it from this perspective, but this down candle here, that did get traded through at 12:30, and then we traded into it here. But again, like I said, we spent a lot of time here so far. We're just hanging out, bro. Like it's Friday night, and that's, I don't like that. And yeah, well, stop loss placement ideas, you know, it's that's one thing that will help you give or get confidence, because I know what it's like to come into this, right? You come into this industry or you come into trading or whatever, and it's like, okay, we can take trades, but that's one of the first things. It's like, well, where do I place my stop? I don't want to get stopped out. Well, no shit, nobody wants to get stopped out, but you have to balance or find that balance between too tight and too loose. You know what I'm saying? But once you find that, there's like no retracements on ES, bro. What the fuck is this? You have to find that balance and something that you're comfortable with. Like with the inversion model that I gave you, I gave the public that for free. You know, that's something I'm comfortable with because it's low risk, not this one per se, but like if there's one way down here, actually there was one earlier on, it was on the micro side. It was like right in here, just not on NQ. But like the 1 to 2, that's a really comfortable model. And I think it's a really good model for beginners because, again, as I've explained time and time again, that model is one of the earliest entries, and it's one of the first signatures of a shift in price delivery. So you're getting in at a really, really cheap price if you're longing in a bullish market, right? You're getting in on a discount and you're trading in the direction of opposing liquidity. It's an easy model. It's not a banger, you know, hit home runs model, but that's always been the point. And I taught you that too. It's not about getting home runs. It's about getting on first or getting on second, just taking, you know, small consecutive, not consecutive, but like small consistent wins that outweigh the losses. You know, win 2%, lose 1%. Win 2%, lose 1%. Even at a 50-50 trader, like, you're still gonna do well. But when you get into other models, when you graduate and it's like, okay, I like inversions, but you know, I need something a little bit more. And that's why I taught you the market maker models. So you can learn to add on with a pyramid, or you can learn to just take regular, you know, imbalances or whatever. So that way, if you miss a certain model, you can catch the next one. i.e., you wake up late, but you understand, like, if this was like if we had a wick here, I'm just going to draw it just for sake of argument. Like, if we had this, then it's like, oh, okay, that's an inversion model, so this might be a mitigation, or this might be an add-on. You could take a later entry and trust it, versus going, okay, well, I didn't get the earliest entry, and now I'm just going to miss out on the rest of the move, even though it trades higher and higher and higher. You can still get in, bro. You know, that's like the idea behind that. So, all right, 1250. This is our 1 o'clock macro, man. So this will be the final, you know, few minutes of the day, and then, or of the stream, really, and then you know, we'll be done. But we are really just not going anywhere for NQ. We're just not going anywhere there. I have nothing to say for ES other than what I've already said. And Dow, same thing. Same thing. You know, I don't like longing when there's these kind of highs and these kind of lows. The scalping ideas in here would have been okay. This is hindsight, obviously. Like, if we were looking in here, like, that would have been okay. But then, you know, I don't know what this is going to do either. So if it was me, that's what I'll be doing today. I'll be watching ES. Hardcore 5860. That's identical. So we'll see. I don't know if this is going to be traded into today or not, but I'd be watching that, and I'd be watching Nasdaq. Okay. And every time it rallies, it looks like, okay, now we're going to get our expansion to go higher. Then it just comes right back, bro. It's like, all right. The market makers, they know. They're like, this fucking guy on YouTube is calling shit out. We're gonna bring it back so he looks wrong, and then we'll bring it up there. You know? The string pullers, they're watching. And they're going, nah, we're going to deny him. We got to make him look gooberish, and then we'll run it. Y'all ever feel that way? Do y'all ever feel that way? Let me see. When there's multiple concepts, by getting in the earliest one and putting your stop at the lower one, would you say that also helps prevent hesitation / trying to be perfect? Yeah, I mean, you know, you're not, if you do that, you're not always going to get the sniper entry. Okay. Like, obviously, with what I told you, I said, if we're going to be bullish, you know, that should be it. Right. But look at it. I was wrong in the assumption that this would hit that and blast off. But we had to fuck around before we found out, right? We had to consolidate before we run. So this to me is looking more like this was the low risk buy. This looks like the first leg, and this should be the second leg to go higher. That's what that's looking like. So, you know, it's only when I admit that I'm wrong is when I end up being right. That's how that works. That's what happens when you get into education, man. You step in front of people and you start saying shit, and you're either right or wrong, you know, and you got to own that if you ever get into this, by the way. Okay. But yeah, Jordan, that's the thing. Okay. I've said this many, many times. I'll say it again. When you get your first or your second sniper entry, meaning you're wicking a 1 minute or a 5 minute time frame, it doesn't consolidate, it just runs to your TP. Okay. You're not going to forget that. Or at least you might forget the trade, but you won't forget that feeling. Okay. You won't. You absolutely won't. If you take trading seriously and you see yourself doing this in the long run, you will absolutely not ever forget that. Right? Who was it? Maya Angelou usually gets credited with saying this, even though it might not have been her. But it's something like, people will forget what you did. They'll forget what you say, but they'll never forget how you make them feel. Right? It's the same, same thing. Like, even with a lot of my exes and stuff, right? I forgot 99% of the arguments that we had, but I know exactly how they made me feel. You know what I mean? I know how I made them feel too. That's why they blocked me. You know what I mean? But less about me. You'll remember how you felt with that trade. And you're going to feel great. You're going to feel good about it. You're going to be like, man, this is so awesome. I finally get it. It's finally clicked. I'm about to run up the bag and go from there. If you let your ego get in the way, that's when you're going to start doing stuff like the stuff that I do sometimes, where I'll break even too fast because I expect too much. And so sometimes you got to let go of that need to be perfect. I could still be right in front of you today. Right? Because based on what I told you earlier, okay? Based on what I told you earlier, on the various stops, it could go to the low of the breakaway imbalance, the low of the breakaway inversion, it could go to the low of the mitigation, and it never went to any of those three. Now, mind you, if your stop was at the low end of the mitigation, you were probably shitting pancakes in here. You were probably, because you're like, oh my God, it's getting ready to hit my stop, but it doesn't. Okay, it turns and goes higher. We could still get 572. Okay. But I already told you, if this was me in here, this run right there, earlier I said I'd rather go break even, because it's just not it for me. Right. So Had I taken this, I'd be break even and I'd be done. Right? But again, this could still trade higher. Okay? I just don't like when I'm in a trade and it consolidates. But remember, I think I explained that last week. I don't remember what day it was. But I said when price does that, though, it might do that because why? It's under accumulation. If this is our first stage and we're getting ready to blast off, then yeah, that was accumulation here. But it's the impatience that will get the best of you because you're trying to make the current trade replicate your best trade or your favorite trade. And that's where traders go wrong. And that's where I go wrong sometimes too. I'm not perfect. I try to say that all the time. Okay. That's one of the problems that I have. I do go break even too fast sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. Right? You saw Dow the other day. I shared my entries in the Discord and the exits too. That first one, I took drawdown and I broke even. But then I immediately re-entered. I don't know how many candles. It was a couple minutes later. But then I immediately re-entered. That was the no drawdown wick exit. You know, market's my bitch kind of thing, right? And that's my point. You're trying to make those goated trades. You're trying to print that every single time. And that's what will screw you up. This in here is one of the only times that the Twitter goobers will be correct. When they say, oh, just take a trade and walk away. This still hasn't panned out yet. But if, let's say, we do end up running to the 570s, that would have been a instance where, sure, it does hit that. And if you let it go, it did run there. But I just don't like trading that way. I just don't like that. I don't like trading that way. So hopefully that helps you. But ego is the enemy. That's why I made you, well, even though you guys don't read, I try to make you read. That was a book of the month a long time ago, was Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday. And it was hopefully to get you guys to understand that sometimes you're going to be your own worst enemy in trading. You're going to get the bias right, but you might get the entry wrong, and you could still be right in that. But if you mismanage that trade, that's not going to go well. You know what I mean? So just because you know how the markets move, how, who, what, where, when, why, right? Just because you start learning, oh yeah, we took liquidity, now we're going to seek opposing liquidity. That's great. And I'm glad, you know, you're learning and all that. But just because you know certain things, that doesn't mean your trading is going to reflect that. If you do things, like I've said, if you move your stop too early, or if you have your stop loss too tight, or if you just straight up get it wrong, okay? Or if you just try to expect sniper entries and then you go break even as soon as you get profit. It's like that is going to be you standing in your own way. And that's why I talk about these things. Even though it's not, you know, like you guys are going to look at this and be like, well, this wasn't the greatest stream, you know, it's like nothing was super crazy, but it's these kinds of lessons though that are going to come up later. Oh, what did I do wrong? It's like, well, we talked about this already. Look at your notes. Stop asking me. Why are you asking me when you have your notes handy? Like, come on. Open of the new hour. Sorry, I missed that. The 1 o'clock hour is right here. So we have the open of a new hour. So far, we traded back into the range. Okay. Back into this imbalance a fourth time, right? So, I don't know. We might actually come down for those lows here. We'll do one more brief run of the other indices real quick, and then we'll hop off. then we shall hop off. My mind keeps telling me to short Dow. It's like those lows are still there, and we just made like this triple high formation above these highs. So I feel like this could be a retracement to go lower, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to short that. I refuse. I refuse to do it. So in closing, that'll be it. Okay. 58.60 is equal lows for ES. You could put that on your chart. You could put an alert there if you want to. If you'd like to do that. But you could also put an alert at 20,572 or 571.75 for Nasdaq. So a little bit of conflicting biases in my opinion. But that's what I got for you. All right, that's all I got. So if you don't want to trade, then don't. I don't think I'm going to do anything here. I don't think so. I think I'm just going to do nothing. Actually, I'm going to go have lunch, but chart-wise, trading-wise, probably not going to do anything. So y'all be good. Appreciate that, Jordan D. Thank you, thank you. Drop a like if you guys got some value today. I would greatly appreciate that. It's totally free to do. Been slow all morning since the opening bell. Yeah. Oh, shit. That's what I meant to talk to you about today. I forgot to get to it. You know, Friday we saw expansion. We saw higher time frame targets met. So today, you know, may not be the cleanest day. And that's like the short version of that. Okay. Yeah. Y'all be good, man. We'll be here same time, same place tomorrow on the 29th. Okay. Same time, same place, 1 p.m. EST. Be good. And I'll see you then.
Tried to feel like I was with you, and when I dream of that feeling, I just think back to when I'm with you. So many times that I tried to feel like I was with you, and when I dream of that feeling,